feels like Monday. But anyway, I'm here with Laura Cattano. Laura, I said it wrong. Anyway, Laura and I go back many years. We used to work together. And then she went on her own. And she now has an amazing business, one that I think we all need. And that is somebody to put your life in order. So we're going to have a nice talk here. And my first question is, what are the problems that most people come to you with, besides emotional?
Oh, yeah. They all have emotional problems. Luckily now I'm qualified to help them with that too. The biggest problem that I see is the energy is off in the space. They don't know that. They just feel like it's cluttered, the space is overwhelming to them, and to me, when I come in, I can sense the energy is off. So my goal is to come in and balance that energy. The most common thing that people have is they've got too much stuff for the space that they have.
Right.
You know.
What's the ideal client?
The ideal, the truth is I'm very selective in who I work with because I provide a very niche service in the organizing industry. I'm not a basic organizer, meaning I work very closely with my clients. My clients either have taste and style, or they want taste and style, they want my taste and style. They all care they care about their home. They care about themselves, they care about their home, and they realize that it's very important to them. It's not seen as a luxury. And they want to change the way they see their things, which is what I provide. It's an empowering kind of, I said to Vince earlier, I said, my approach is philosophy-based, and anyone who follows me knows this, and he laughed about that a little bit. But that's
philosophy, yeah. So, if someone came to you, or if someone couldn't come to you because of financial, what would you say the way that they should really focus on putting their life in order?
Well, it's funny because I ask my clients to ask themselves the same questions you ask your clients. It doesn't matter about the stuff. I tell my clients, forget about the stuff. Actually, the first step is to leave your house. Go somewhere where you feel comfortable, where you feel happy, go to the park, the coffee shop, whatever, go to a museum and sit there. Because like I said, the energy of the space is off. And everything has energy, which is science. Everything is energy, whether it's me or you, these glasses, that pen, pencil. I don't have my glasses on. And it's all kind of creating static in the brain. So leave the space and think about and write down, how do you want to live? What's important to you? Forget about the stuff. The first step in organizing has nothing to do with stuff. It has to do with you. How do you want to function in your space? Most people are not living the lives in their space that they want to because they feel like their space won't allow for it. So think about, I want to make space to meditate and pray. I used to cook a lot, I don't cook a lot, I really want to get back into that. I want to start exercising at home. I want to carve out space for that. I want to get a pet. Whatever it is, whatever functions you want your space to support. Then think about how you want the space to feel. Like in my apartment, which is smaller than this room, so it's only one room. For my clients, each room can have a different feeling and function. But how do you want the space to feel? For my own personal space, the feeling of calmness, serenity, and spaciousness is the utmost important to me. So if you can have the basis of that, that's your foundation of what to keep or what to get rid of. I'm a self-reformed shopaholic. I love everything. I love design, I love clothes, I love everything. And I always want to buy everything. But when I'm in a store and I'm about to take something in, I think to myself, okay, whatever this is, maybe it's a piece of furniture. I love it, right? It sparks joy, which I would never say. It makes me happy. But what's more important? Having this, adding this thing to my space, is that going to throw off the feeling of the space? Then that's not something I want in my life. So the first step is really grounding yourself in the fact that you are more important than stuff. And how you flow through your space is more important than the stuff. With that basis, and I recommend people write all the stuff down, It's one thing to think about. It's another thing to have it written down on a piece of paper. Then you use that for the basis of editing. It's not, oh, have I worn this or have I used this in 6 months? Who gives a shit? The past is done. I really don't care about the past, and neither should you. You only care about what am I doing now and how do I want to live going on in the future. And it's like you give all of your things a little employee review, right? The basis of the editing is it's not, well, I use you every day, so I must keep you. I haven't used you in 6 months, I get rid of you. No, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. That has nothing to, it's a cute little bite. It makes a little bumper sticker. Like, if you haven't used it in 6 months, get rid of it. We don't curse on this, right?
No, well,
sorry.
Yeah, right.
my audience is anyway, it's more like, how does keeping you make my life better? It's like you, right? So if you have an employee, maybe you have an employee that's been worked well for you for years, they did a great job. Now, last couple of months, not doing so great. You don't think, well, I've had them for so long and I've paid them for so long, and they were so good for so long. Maybe I should just keep them around and maybe the need will come back again. No, you'd be like, you're fired. Like, it's okay. You can move on and maybe.
Okay, so.
Maybe that's not how it works. Yeah, I don't have employees. And anyone who's worked for me knows that.
Let me
cut me
ask
off because I do tend to.
No, that's
I
okay.
can fill the space.
Yes or no? Does finding a new relationship have something to do with how you deal with your environment?
Having a new relationship to your things?
No. In other
Oh,
words,
sorry.
I want to have a new relationship. I'm looking for a relationship. Does my environment prevent it or help it?
I say yes.
Yes or no? Okay.
I say yes.
Okay.
I think, again, it might sound frou-frou and I know this is still happening, but when people say, like, really, what do you do? Like, if you're going to, a professional organizer, interior style, it's not really great words. I do energy work. So if you're coming to me, or if you're coming to Vincent, the energy of your space is off. And if the energy of your space is off, your internal energy is off. And I'm not saying about it has to look like this, it has to be beautiful, and you have to have all this nice furniture, and it's not about that, but you do have to feel good, and there has to be a balance. You have to feel good about your space in your home, I think, to feel good about yourself.
I thought we were going to talk about folding sweaters.
I know.
But,
It's not my
what are the biggest mistakes people make about storing and organizing?
There's two big mistakes that people make. The first one is thinking they need to buy things before they get organized, right? So they
Really not get rid of things.
Yes. They think like, I have other organizer friends and they're like, oh, you don't drive, but how do you bring all the bins? I'm like, I don't bring bins. Because most people have what they need. So buying anything before you tackle any kind of storage unit, storage situation, that's not the right way to do it. The other thing I find, so I'm going to give you a two-part answer, is when I come to this space, I find that the balance of open and closed storage is off. Most people only buy open storage, meaning if they have a television, they do like an open, like a media unit underneath that's like 2 open shelves. They do open bookcases versus cabinets versus a drawer unit. Behind a door, or a drawer, or So most people are looking at everything they own. You don't want to look at the crippity crap. Right? Like the crippity crap.
Well, that doesn't help the space of being calm and serene.
Exactly. And we all have things that, I have a packing tape. I've got a couple of pens, and maybe 3. I've got, scissors. They're beautiful scissors, but I don't want to look at them. So when you're coming into my space, it feels nice because you're not looking at that stuff. That stuff is all behind closed doors. And the same thing with you. We're only looking at beautiful things here. We're not looking at, I am looking at a ruler, but you can't see it in frame.
Neither did.
Yeah, so, yeah.
What are the funniest experiences you've had? Sex toys or...
Well, okay, I've actually, and no judgment, I have worked for 2 women. One was definitely a sex worker, and the other one was, I believe...
She was a sex worker?
Oh, I mean, if you have a stripper pole in your living room, a sex trunk that we did under the bed. She was definitely a sex worker. Sweetest girl in the world, beautiful, young, loved her to death. Actually, one time I came over, and I came a little earlier, she was a little late, and there's a bunch of stuff on the bed, and she's like, let's clear off the bed, because I like to use the bed as a surface. I'll put like a flat sheet down, and we're taking things off the bed, and I grabbed something, and she was like, oh, I'll take that. And she takes it, and she goes, I didn't use it, but you can wash your hands if you want. And I didn't realize it was like a very modern looking
sex object.
Yes. She's very sweet.
See, you all didn't think this was going to be the way it's turning out here. Some of the funniest experiences you've had?
You just asked that.
Yeah,
I have another one if you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had this young, very handsome gentleman that I was working for, and had just moved into the apartment. He traveled a lot. And so we met once, and I was going to unpack everything and set the apartment. Now, I told him, I'm not here to invade your privacy, so if there's any boxes that you don't want me opening, just put a sticker on it, put an X on it. Like, I don't want to open your nightstand box, you know. I don't want to, I know way too much about my clients. So considering I have no boundaries, they know way too much about me too, so it's okay. Anyway, I'm opening his kitchen and taking out, you know, the forks, the knives, the pots, and I grab a handful of takeout menus. And so, for whatever reason, I just sorted through them a bit. And as I did that, a bunch of business cards fell out. And I don't know if you know this, maybe they don't do it anymore because it's back in the day, but escorts have business cards. And I'm looking at it because I thought they were real estate cards. Because you know, in real estate, there's like a photo of you, and you're like, hi, I'm at Caldwell Bank or whatever. I don't even know real estate. But I'm like, I don't think this is real estate. I don't think you have a photo like this of yourself if you're selling. And it was like, you know, Sherry or whatever. And it was like, Chicago, Miami, California. I was like,
escort services around the country.
Yeah, because he traveled a lot.
Well, it's good to keep in your menu drawer.
I thought it made
you know
sense.
What you want.
I thought, like, this actually makes organizational sense, so I didn't want to embarrass him. I just tucked it all away and put it in the drawer, and, you know, no judgment, whatever.
Does everybody need somebody to organize their life?
I don't. I mean, no.
But you can ban yourself.
Not everybody. I personally think it's incredibly helpful and it's incredibly life enriching if you listen. Being organized is simply knowing what you have and where to find it. That's it.
Right.
That's all it is.
So you're saying that disorganized people are really organized because they know where to find it?
No, I'm saying clean, neat, and organized are three different things. I happen to be extremely clean, extremely neat, and very organized. People
What sign?
I'm a Taurus.
Taurus.
That's, well, Tauruses, as opposed to Virgos,
Uh-huh.
Virgos, everyone thinks I'm a Virgo, but the Virgo, I think, likes to alter their environment to suit them, whereas a Taurus likes to make the most of what they have, which is very, very neat. What was the question? Is everyone?
The question is, yes is the answer. Presenting everybody needs
I think that considering the world, I mean, I can blame Americans, and in any consumer society, I think that everyone needs to look at their things and themselves in a fresh way, which is what I try to do with my philosophy. It's not just, oh, I don't think everyone needs to go to the container store and buy plastic bins and with the scripted labels and color code and all that. If that's what you're into, that's fantastic. But, and you're going to put it on your Instagram and Pinterest, that's fantastic. But that, to me, that's neat. That doesn't necessarily mean you know what you have, or any of that stuff is actually adding to your life. So I do think that people should take an inventory of the things that they have, because I did a major edit last year. I got rid of 30% of what I own, and I own nothing. Go to my Instagram. You see there's nothing in there. I don't have a storage unit. So if I can get rid of that much stuff, yeah, I would say 30% or 30 or people can get rid of so much shit.
Do we have any questions?
You talked about having a philosophy-based approach. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, it goes to the point of what I was saying earlier, like what's the first step? My philosophy is, so listen, I'm a self-reformed shopaholic. I was born neat, my father taught me how to be organized, but this way I see my things is completely different. My apartments are always neat and fine, but until I changed the way I saw things in my life, that's when my life changed. That's when my apartments all of a sudden became really beautiful. I didn't want to shop anymore because I was very, because I look at everything, let me gather myself. The philosophy is looking at things based on a tool, right? The only reason stuff exists is to help you do something. So if you want to get your life in order, the first question you need to ask is, what do I want to do? Philosophy-based, I call it philosophy-based versus arbitrarily based because most organizing things you've heard out there are arbitrary. It has nothing to do with you. If you haven't used it in 6 months, get rid of it. When in doubt, throw it out. Group like things together. They're all very quippy and it creates a nice little blimp you can put on a t-shirt. But where's the connection that you have to your things? It's more about why you're having used something. Why have I not used this in 6 months? Because if I don't understand why I'm getting rid of something or why I'm keeping something, you're not going to change it from coming in. This is why I say I edit with my clients, I don't purge. Most people are stuck in the cycle of consuming and then purging, consuming and purging. And that's not healthy. It's not healthy for you, it's not healthy for the environment. And so that's why it's philosophy-based. It's much more, all of my clients, they all say the same thing. I feel empowered now. I feel empowered to understand how I can set up my space, and it's not just, I haven't worn it. It's now I know how to shop for myself because I put myself first. If you'd like to know more, go to my Instagram page.
I was just going to, how do people reach you?
You can look at my website, lauracattano.com, and it's Cattano. Well, it's on the thing, right? And in my Instagram, I do a lot of videos, I do a lot of lives.
You said that you do online classes. So.
Yes, I take very few hands-on clients at the moment. I'm in my 20th year of doing this, and I have very specific clients that I do physical work for that I've worked with for years. But I do offer very intimate Zoom classes on very specific topics. I don't have a course yet. I'm not doing a course, but I am doing one-off classes that are very affordable, and they've been going well so far. So, and my next one will be about how to build and edit a wardrobe.
A silly question.
Yeah.
What is the grandest closet you've worked on?
It's interesting because most people assume that I'm providing a luxury service and that my clients are they all live in $4 million apartments, which is not actually true. I was in a $50 million apartment. I was not impressed. I was honestly the closet.
Obviously not mine.
Not any of his clients. Not any of his clients. The truth is, most of my clients live on a budget. Most of my clients rent. I've worked with some, very famous people who I will not mention, but their closets were like, all right, it's nice, but it's not like
Amazing.
Yeah, not. It's not Mariah Carey's closet. I mean, her closet's pretty.
Storage units.
Okay, so my feeling about storage units, I think storage units are like Florida. It's like where your stuff goes to die. You know what I mean? I think I've only had a few clients that I've allowed them to keep their storage units. One worked in finance, and it was just a walk-in room, almost the size of this, filled with just wall-to-ceiling file cabinets. You don't want that in your apartment. Another client was a couple, and they were total sportsmen. And they had, I think, a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment, and they were using one of the bedrooms to store a kayak and skis and snowboards and hiking and whatever other sports things that people do. But they didn't have any room for their clothes or their kitchen stuff. So I said, let's get a storage unit, put all the sports stuff in there, and then we can actually turn this other room into into a walk-in closet, home office. But yeah, generally speaking, storage units, like I have a client I'm seeing her today, she's a storage unit filled with furniture that I know in 3 years we're gonna get rid of all of it. And she's paying every month so much money to store furniture that is basically gonna go in the trash in a couple of years.
It's so funny because when I have had clients that come to me and say, oh, this is Aunt Louise's
Yes.
this, or oh my God, this belonged to my grand. I said, why don't you get a room, put them in the room, and when you want to go down memory lane,
Yeah.
I mean, you can see, well, I have it in storage because I want to go and visit my past.
Okay.
But
I mean, listen, if you have the money and if you want to do that, great. I mean, storage units are dirty. They're filled with clothes molds, mice, just
really,
filth. Oh, it's filthy.
oh, not the high end
I'm sure, but not Guard Road. Where they Awaving now? I think I forgot the name of their company. But Guard Road, yes. If I had furniture, because they do clothing and furniture, like yes, that's not.
ones. Well, temperature control.
That's a temperature controlled. It's like that's a concierge service. Or if you're talking about like Manhattan mini storage, which is very good, I'm not slagging off Manhattan mini storage. It's still dirty. I just feel like go through your stuff.
And
Just let it go. Let people hold on to so many things on the past, and it's like, I mean, I could talk for an hour about that.
Any questions?
How do you apply your philosophy to kitchens?
So I see everything exactly the same. I see no difference in these glasses, a pencil, my iPhone, this top. It's all exactly the same. Frying pan. It's all exactly the same. If the thing about kitchens, there's so many gadgets on the market that actually don't make the experience of cooking that much better. I think everything you have should make the experience of what you're doing that much nicer. You should feel like you'll understand this reference. No one else does. I find that like when you're trying to do something, completing a task should not feel like a Keystone Cop skit. The Keystone Cops is from like the silent movies where it's like 20 cops and they're all like running around and they're bumping into each other. It's chaotic. It's frenetic. Versus like a ballet. You should be doing something. It should be elegant. It should be, I'm lifting this up. This is making me cook nicer, and it's making the experience better. So I feel like when you're going to your kitchen, look at all of your tools and see, okay, this non-stick pan that's all scratched. Now that's gonna hurt you health-wise, so let's get rid of that. But this little gadget that slices and dices, does that actually make it better for you, or is it just easier to learn some knife skills instead of having this extra thing? I think people have so many things, and they're like, I can't fit it all in here. I'm like, why don't you just practice your knife skills? You don't need half of this shit.
It was so funny.
Egg separators come with their own egg separator. That's the shit. You don't need an egg separator. Sorry.
I was away for the weekend, and I was chucking corn.
Yeah.
So, oh, no, look at this thing that chucks the corn. I was just standing there with a knife, and it was just so funny that, oh, this is a new gadget that makes my life easier, when it really it's just one more gadget.
One more, and the other thing is like, cooking is a sensual experience. It's a beautiful thing to be cooking. You know what I mean? And when you're holding whatever it is, I mean, I'm not saying like hold something, you're gonna hurt yourself, but like shucking corn, that's like, it's also meditative to do that. To sit there and you're doing something mindless. You're connecting with the food, you're connecting with yourself. I find that most people really look down on doing basic things.
Process.
The process. Like, I don't have a dishwasher. I'm also not cooking a meal for 10 people, right? It's just me. But I actually like the idea of every day I sit and I let my mind wander and I'm not watching, I'm not on my Instagram, I'm not listening to anything. I'm just washing the dishes, I'm lost in my mind. And it's like, there's moments of kind of boredom, that connect you to yourself. And your mind needs that. You need the mindless. Yeah, a moment of mindless, like I don't have to think about this and I'm not looking at a screen and I'm just shucking my corn or I'm washing my dishes.
What else?
What do you think about decorative accessories?
Oh, okay, so I have like sort of a decorative accessory. So I don't think this girl's watching. So a friend of mine calls herself a lifestyle expert, which I'm just going to leave it at that. So she's in my home, and there's this little like objet d'art. It's like a little, like a rock. It looks like a rock. It looks like one of those cookies where like the thumb goes in it. I don't know. She said, I don't really do that stuff. So she points to it. She said, "What's the point of this?" And I was like, "What?" And she said, "What is this? What's the point of this?" And I'm like, "Are you seriously asking me what the point of a decorative accessory is? A lifestyle expert doesn't understand." I was like, so I sat down and I said, "Well, look, I look at it. It gives me, it has a really beautiful energy for whatever reason. If I'm feeling a little anxious, I pick it up. It's very tactile, it's very rough, and I just hold it in my hand. It feels nice, and it's sitting next to this other object, this offering tray that the ceramicist did that was gifted to me. And these two objects, I've tried styling them, but they just want to be together. So these two objects together, just sitting there on the table, it's just like a nice breath of fresh air. I mean, we don't need to ask Vincent how he feels about decorative accessories. But I will say about decorative accessories, one mistake that most people make is they want all of it out all at once. And I don't, that's
Or spreading it around. I think if you have a collection, you put it together, you don't put one here, one there, because it just becomes stuff a little bit.
And I learned that from you, you know, when, I learned so much from you. But no, when I'm with my clients and I'm like, oh, I'm realizing they like seashells, yeah. And it's like, oh, there's a little bit in the bathroom, a little bit in the bedroom. And I'm like, why don't we've got this beautiful bowl, let's put them all together and let's put them on the coffee table. Because not only I think those objects want to be together, but it tells us like a greater story together.
Right.
And now people are going to come in your home and be like I'm looking at these Buddha statues. Buddhas, yeah. And it's like, when I come in, the first thing I want to do is ask you, oh my God, what is this? But if I saw one and one and one, it's too much. But you don't need everything out all at once. I have a cabinet that I have my little extra vases and extra pieces, and every now and then, I don't want to look at this anymore, and I switch it out, you know?
Yeah, it gives a sort of life to the space.
Yeah. I think another thing that you do with the picture ledges, I love that, because you say it allows you for movement.
Right.
You know, it's nice to have a collection on the wall, but it's nice to, I'm going to take that one and I'm going to move it, I'm going to switch it to something else.
Well, it's giving the space life. It's not all mounted on the wall.
Yeah. And it also, you move the energy around in the space.
Right, and you're looking at it in a different way once you move it.
Okay, this question, it's definitely not from me, okay? Definitely not from me. What happens when you have clients, like a couple as a client, and let's just say, for example, that the husband is very neat and the wife is not?
Oh yes, this is a very common.
We had that conversation just before this started.
Yeah, I was telling Vincent a lot of the work I do is therapy, and a lot of couples therapy, which is funny because I've never lived with anyone. But I do. I'm a human, and I see. You know, everyone I know is married, living with someone. You know, I think it's really important that there's a few things, and maybe there's going to be some answers that people don't like to hear. No, first of all, know who you're marrying. I couldn't marry a slob. I couldn't, because I know what's important to me in terms of a home. Now, I'm not calling it the question answer a slob, but also understand like who you're marrying and how they're going to be. Like I have this client who, because there's always someone cleaner and neater than the other. This younger couple, the guy was the new husband was moving in with the wife. It was her apartment, and I worked with her for many years. Beautiful, sweet, smart woman. But she's a mess, you know, and she's actually, working with me, she's actually gotten a lot better, but she's a mess, you know. She buys something at CVS and leaves it in the bag and for weeks, and then, you know, the kitchen's a mess, and he pulls me aside one day, and he's like, Laura, she lets the kitchen explode, which is a common thing for people who are a bit messy. Like, she lets it explode before she actually cleans it up, and like the recycling is piling up, and all this stuff is piling up. And the first thing I said to him was, all right, let's sit down for a second, because let's get down to the truth. She's way out of your league. She's gorgeous. She's smart. This is her apartment that she bought for. You're not paying for anything. You know, she's stylish, and she's actually better than she was. So that's fine. But this is the way she is. And if the kitchen bothers you, clean it up. I think he once we had this talk, he realized, I actually live in this space. Like, this is your apartment now. He felt like, well, I'm moving into her apartment. She cooks, so I feel like I can go in the kitchen. And
It
it's
should
like,
look neat and perfect.
yeah, and it's like, well, even more of a reason for you to clean the kitchen if she's the one cooking,
Right.
right?
What's
Like,
your half of the deal?
what's your half of the deal? What are you
Right.
bringing? You know, it's all her furniture. It's her apartment. Like, so I tell people when I'm working with clients, because that situation is it's always the situation. I try to tell couples separate out the non-shared items. If you're not sharing clothes, don't share a closet. If you don't have to, don't share a bathroom. Try to have your own space. If it's an own room, that's always great. If, you know, he can have his, and you can have, or he, whatever. So that the person who's extremely neat can be extremely neat in their space. The one that's a little messy can be a bit messy in their space if the door's closed. And then in the common areas, the neat person takes it down a notch, and the messy person has to step it up a notch. So they kind of have to meet in the middle. But accepting someone for who they are, it's, you know, pick your battles. Like, I have clients who are like, he comes in and he throws all his clothes right there. And I was like, well, where's the hamper? It's over here. I go, why don't you just put the hamper over there? And why
Then he'll throw it over there.
well, sometimes, but it's like you have to work with like I was trying to tell a client. It was one telling me, you know, you have to work on this other person and make them better. And I was like, look, we're all adults. I'm the neatest person that I've ever met. So if I was coming home, or I come home in the winter, I have a little book, I take my jacket off, I hang it up just to air it out before I put it in the closet. Now, if someone came to me and said, you know what? This is ridiculous that you're putting your coat on that hook. When you come home and just throw it on the floor. I couldn't do it. It would be like, why don't you take your hands and put it up your ass and try to walk? I mean, it just doesn't, you know? So it's like you have to kind of work within the bounds of a person. And you have to think, is this worth the argument? It's never going to be equal.
And if you want, I'm neat, but I don't, I can drink water and leave a glass in the sink. The person I live with has to watch that. They cannot go to sleep if the dishes are in the sink.
Right.
So, to me, now we've worked it out.
Yes.
He does dishes.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. He wants to do it, then do them. I'm going to bed.
Exactly.
And it's worked out very well.
That's right. That works out for you.
It was perfect for me.
Exactly.
Because when I say I'll do the dishes, no.
Yeah.
You don't do them
That's
right.
right. Yeah, that's what I would say. I'd rather. It's funny. I have 3 brothers, and all of the wives are like, "Oh, they don't let me clean because I don't do it right." I'm like, "You probably don't do it right."
The wife said that.
Yeah, I'm
Because
like,
you
grew up in a
trained
very
them.
clean, neat house for my father, not for my mother. And so we're all very particular. And the wife's like, well, he won't let me clean the house because I'm doing it wrong. And my answer is, yeah, you probably are doing it wrong.
Hey, how great.
Yeah. And
Let them do it.
Yeah, what are you fucking complaining about? Women I know want their husbands cleaning their houses.
Yeah.
But the thing that Vincent mentioned, they worked it out.
Right.
If someone's doing something and you're not telling them that annoys you, that's just going to annoy you.
Right.
And that other person doesn't know. Another thing that I had to explain to many clients, which I learned from my first client. First client, she had a beautiful townhouse, and it got to the point where every week I would just go to her home, and every Friday, and just make sure everything is exactly where it should be. Every cupboard, every piece of article of clothing, every fork and spoon is exactly where it should be. So when she came home Friday night, she had a beautiful apartment to spend the weekend where everything is in order. And every Friday I come and I open up the utensil drawer, and it would be a mix of spoons and knives. I'm like, who the hell is doing this? So I move them, finally she came home one day early. She was never there. And I was like, we just call her
Louise.
Yeah, Louise. I said, Louise, what's the deal with the spoons? Who's doing that? Who puts the spoons with the forks? Or the whatever. She's like, oh, that's me. And I go, why do you do that? What do you do? This is a very she had a very highly functioning job. Well, all my clients do. And she said, I just don't see it. And that was my first lesson. I see
Get
it.
her glasses. No.
But like you can walk into a room and see it completely different, right? You can visualize, right? I walk in a room to my clients, I see every sticker they haven't taken off of everything. Like there's a sticker right there, it's really bothering me. I'm not gonna, but I also don't have my glasses on, so maybe it's a decorative sticker. Yeah. So, but it's like, why is the sticker still on something? And there's some people who can put a sock on the floor and walk past it for 3 weeks because they don't see it. So it's not.
They don't,
it's not a
they don't care.
Either don't see it or they don't care. Those are two different things. If they don't care, then maybe we need a marriage counselor. But if they can't see it, then sometimes you have to just say, you know what?
I see it.
They're good at other things. Or I see it. It bothers me. I'm not going to wash the dishes at night because I don't really care. It bothers me, so I'm going to wash them. And I'm not going to be upset at him because to me, at least you put the dish in the sink. To me, I'm like, just put it in the sink.
See, I did mine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
He
it's
does
in
the
the
other
sink.
half.
It's not under the bed.
No.
It's like, yeah, so I feel like you're doing your part. Doing a good job.
Thank you. I don't care.
We have run long. There are still
Not surprised.
there are still some questions left. So Laura, when is your next live?
My next live will hopefully be the end of this week.
Okay, I'm going to give you the questions, so
Okay.
maybe you will have a chance to answer them
Yeah.
then. And can you give us your contact information one more time?
Yeah, it's at lauracattano.com or at Laura Cattano on Instagram. And the last name is spelled Cattano.
Well, thank you, Laura.
This was
And this has been fun. A few dirty words, a few shit. And we will see you next Tuesday. I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, looking at the Grand Tetons. So we will get together the following week.
Thank you so much for having me, Vincent.
Oh, my
This is
pleasure.
like full circle. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.